You're listening to Three's a Crowd, the North East Footy Podcast, with Rye for Borough, Steve for Newcastle United, and Ted for Sunderland. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. It's me, and it's the invisible Steve Wraith, and it's the even more invisible Rye with Three's a Crowd. Steve, are you there? Are you with us?
I am, mate, yes. I've had eye surgery this week, as regular viewers of NUFC Matters will know, so I'm off screen today. Just got to take care of the first week, really, with lights and stuff like that, including computer glare, but big success, and yes, I can read again without glasses, so the next time you see us on Three's a Crowd, I will not be wearing glasses, which is a major thing. In fact, every podcast I've done since I started NUFC Matters in 2020, I've had glasses on, so it'll be a new Steve Wraith on here. So
who's the new lad?
Who's the new lad? Yes, yeah. Mental, really mental, and it's a hell of a process to go through. But you know, I sold my vinyl, which is paid for the operation. I went private, and basically they go in through the top of your eyelids, folks. If you're having your breakfast, you'll enjoy this. And basically take your old lenses out of your eyes, and they put new lenses in. And I've got multifocal lenses, which means I can see now distance and short. But I tell you what, when you get over 50, and I'm probably speaking of the converted here, you know, just everything deteriorates, but your eyesight it's mental how quickly it deteriorates. And from 45 onwards, I couldn't read text. I was struggling to read like a newspaper, and then you know I managed to push on until I got to like 47, 48, and I just had to bite the bullet, get readers, and then over 50, well, that was it. It was just, you know, it's a downward spiral, and I think once you start wearing glasses, you rely on them, and I think that's
massively.
That was it, you know. So I had all this vinyl at home. I thought I'm never going to play it. When my mother passed away a few years ago, I just remember she'd had this huge clear out, and she basically, and I was amazed at how little my mum left in the house for me and my brother to go and sort out, and that plus COVID made me think, you know what, I'm going to get rid of my crap. And basically over the last 6 years, that's what I've done on eBay. I've just got rid of everything, and it's been one of those things, you know, life-changing events and stuff like that. But yeah, that's why I'm in the dark, mate. And just a little update on Rye. Some of you will know, obviously, who watch the show on a regular basis. Rye, unfortunately, had a funny turn a couple of weeks ago, and he was making progress, but he's back in hospital again. And we only found out this morning, literally an hour ago, when he stuck a message in the WhatsApp chat to say that he was, he'd had another turn. He's not well, and our thoughts go out with go out to Rye, because he's conscious, he's okay, because obviously he messaged us, but he's obviously got a few issues, and he's a bit freaked out and a bit concerned. So we will pass on all your best wishes. I'm sure everybody will be thinking about Rye. We certainly are. So get well soon, Rye.
Get well soon, Rye. Also known as the Australian Darren Anderton, with the amount of shows he's been off sick now, of course. I love him, really. I am mean to him, I know, but it's all out of love, and we are concerned about him. That goes without saying, because it's never the same without my blood. Exactly, the flaming galah. But we're going to do our best to soldier on and have a decent show for you today.
I see what you did there. Soldier on. I see what you did there. Well done.
I'm good at this. I should do this more often, you know.
Yeah. And the other thing as well, I think the thing that's really affected my eyesight, unfortunately, this week is I never thought that I would see the day that Newcastle United would be gazumped by Sunderland, and of course they have been gazumped with this atrocity. That's bloody awful. That is absolutely Bernie Clifton. That really is stinking. What an awful shirt that is. It really is. And I bet you've bought one.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've ordered it. Yeah, I was there online, ready and waiting. Do you know what? I mean, all joking aside, we'll just leave it up there for a little while. I'm not so keen on the long sleeve one. Like that's not for me, to be honest. But I do really like the short sleeve version of it. But it's really, really split the fans. This
I bet you it has. I bet you it has.
I would say a good 65 to 70% are a definite no. They don't like it.
That many.
I'm in the minority. I really like it. I think it's a great idea. I think in terms of targeting, however 100 million Elvis Presley fans there are out there, because obviously it is it's a crossover. It's a partnership with the Elvis Presley Foundation. So you have plenty of Elvis fans buying into it. I think
the fan base is all shook up. I think.
There's a lot of people said it should be returned to sender. But
I just don't know what on earth possesses football clubs to come out with this. I mean, obviously, yeah, like you say, it's 70-30 if you don't like it. So, it's different. I think the only thing that I get is the story behind it, because as anyone who knows goes to the stadium, I like Wise Men Say, the song that gets played. So that's the link with Elvis. And I guess from a financial point of view, Ted, it's a good link up financially.
Well, it's. I mean, the timing of it's absolutely superb, because obviously, you've got the World Cup being over there in the US at the moment. Sunderland obviously riding high on a little publicity at the end of the season with the miracle season we've had. And then of course we've got a pre-season tour of the States as well. So it all ties in neatly. With it being pink, I don't think we'll be using it an awful lot. I think in terms of away games, we'll probably end up using whatever the third kit's going to be. But you're going
to have to get Jackie White on the back of their mind.
There's a few people said it's absolutely Jackie White as well, but it's to be honest, like I say, it's horses for courses. Some people say, funnily enough, the missus said it looks like a jockey's shirt as well, which I guess I'll look like a jockey in it as well, but more like Jockey Wilson, given my frame. But there you go. I like it. Each to their own. I think, let's see what Middlesbrough throw, because Newcastle and Sunderland have certainly had some divisive shirts out this time. Sorry, I'm looking on the floor. I've got the youngest kitten kicking around in the room with us today.
Oh, how's he doing? Has he settled in?
He's walking around like he's the boss of the place, mate. It's absolutely unreal. When I get 2 minutes, I'll bring him onto the show. But yeah, little Stavros is an absolute legend. He's a little arsehole as well. He's a little legend.
Have the other cats took to him?
3 out of the 4 have. So Stelios absolutely loves his new little brother. Blanche is indifferent to him. Penny the black cat, she's all right about it. Kylie though, nah, she's not taking well to him at all. So we're having to keep an eye on that situation. She's growling at him, hissing at him. So yes, it's I suppose it'll take time. But yeah, he's a little star. He's a little star. So quite a lot to talk about as well as pink slices. We may as well stay on the theme of Sunderland as well. We seem to be having a very good World Cup as well as the end of a Premier League season as well. Only Real Madrid have scored more goals in the World Cup than what Sunderland have at this moment in time. 6 scorers now. Obviously, with Diarra adding to Senegal's massive win last night, that's seen them go through and get out of the group stages. So yeah, I mean, World Cup wise, Steve, we're having an absolute belter. The lads getting on the score sheet, some promising performances, but I think we all know the one that's caught everybody's eye, and Sunderland fans are kind of hoping that he hasn't, and that's Brian Brobbey, mate. For me, sorry, I think Ted's audio is off.
No, I can hear you. I think she's taking the proverbial.
Oh, is she now? All right, I see. Christ. Normally I spot them coming a mile off. Yes, yeah. So
Brian by the pink shirt.
It's better than having pink eye. Yeah. Brian Brobbey obviously having an absolute stormer, mate. For me, he's an old-fashioned centre forward. I know you were obviously sort of reeling from the defeat at St James's Park, but you were quick to point out what a great performance he had there and what he's done to quite a few centre-backs in the Premier League and now doing it on the world stage as well. How far do you think Brobbey can go, mate? Because I honestly think he's destined for the absolute top. I think he's a Bayern Munich waiting to happen.
Yeah, I mean, look, as far away from Sunderland as possible is where I hope he goes. Really, because he was a menace. There's no doubt about it, and he's a dangerous player. And if you get the service to him, he scores goals. But he just literally he just gets stuck in, doesn't he? He's a good old-fashioned centre forward. And again, he's just proof that Sunderland's transfer window last year was phenomenal, because they picked up so many players at such a cheap price. But Sunderland aren't immune to the Newcastle United disease, which is bringing players in, making them better, and then just watching them go off to another club, be a stepping stone, if you like. So brace yourself, Sunderland fans, because you will lose one or two players. Players make a name for themselves on the world stage, then they're not going to hang around in Sunderland. It's as simple as that. So yeah, it's been an interesting World Cup. I've not watched a great deal of it. What I've tended to do is I've tended to tune into games 10-15 minutes from the end, which in a lot of games it's been worth doing, because it's been a glut of goals. I mean, I got up this morning before I went out for a walk, and I saw I managed to tune into the Belgium game. There was three goals in the last 15 minutes, which was absolutely, it's mental. And then you catch up on the rest of the goals, obviously, at the end of the show when they're analysing. So, yeah, I haven't spent a great deal of time watching lots of games. I will focus more on games as we get to the knockout stage. But again, I just think the World Cup has been, it's been made longer. There's more teams in it. Of course, you've got that kind of fairy tale story of Cape Verde, for example, and that's what extending the World Cup to other teams does. But at the same time, it's just extending the game for greed, and it's extending the tournament for greed. So, I wasn't blown away with England's performance either this week. I thought that they struggled. What will they do tonight against Panama? Well, we know they're already through. They need to finish top of the group. A win will do it. But it's it's not the same. And I think when we're getting the games later, of course, and they're happening at night time as well, it makes people switch off, So slightly later at night in the UK, it's 10 o'clock tonight.
Killer for me.
It's a killer for you, yeah, 100%. But yeah, look, Sunderland's players have done well. Anthony Elanga, has stood out for Sweden. Two absolutely brilliant goals for Sweden. Mm-hmm. We talked last week about Wissa getting on the score sheet, didn't manage a goal in his second game, of course. But yeah, Elanga seems to have really, come to the forefront for Sweden and answered his critics quite nicely. Although, he wasn't aware of where his team was finishing in the group, I don't think, and sat on the pitch after the match in tears, almost moping around, thinking they hadn't got through, and then obviously got told that they had. So, but yeah, look, it's nice to see players doing that. Nick Voltemada, not doing anything at all for Germany. Malik Chow, of course, got a run out, but Germany dropped a clanger, which was surprising. But yeah, it's not been great, and from Newcastle's point of view, you're just hoping nobody gets injured, really, because at the moment we're not signing anybody. So you're either hoping that one or two of these players has an absolutely brilliant World Cup and enough to impress somebody, and we can sell them and get rid of some of the crap, or you just hope that they don't get injured, and we can get something out of them next season. But yeah, look, interesting World Cup. I'll get into it more, I think, as we get to the knockout stages.
Yeah, which happens next week as well. Just on Elanga, and I agree, mate. I got Sweden in the sweepstake at work, which means I've become partially a Swedish fan for the duration of however long they're going to be in there. Yeah, totally agree. Elanga's 2 goals, absolutely great. is that frustrating from a Geordie's point of view, or is it kind of is it a positive that he's coming out of a World Cup on such good form?
Yeah, I mean it's just good to see him having some kind of form, because the way that he was last season, any Newcastle fan will tell you, it just looked like the lad had forgotten how to play football. He literally couldn't trap a bag of cement. That's how bad he was last season. He couldn't pass the ball. He couldn't trap the ball. He couldn't control the ball. He was running past it. And with the exception of probably 3 games last season, Barcelona being one where he scored 2 goals in the new camp, obviously, got hammered in that game. But, other than that, he was rubbish. He was absolutely rubbish. And I find it hard, really, in a lot of ways, to excuse wingers more than anything else. I don't know if that sounds daft, but a winger gets the ball, he just needs to run, control it, and cross the ball in. And he couldn't even do that. He was stubbing the ball out for a goal kick and hitting the ball into the advertising hoardings. It was awful. It looked like a lack of confidence, and it looked like somebody who literally just had plummeted in form. And when you think about it, that it was him, Jacob Murphy, and Mo Salah the season before who had the most assists in the Premier League. They were joint assists in the Premier League. That's why Newcastle shelled out such an amount for him. But this season, this season just gone. There was just nothing, And yeah, look, we've been through it before. It's all because of his activity.
Well, yeah. I just wonder whether he's one of these shop window players, Steve, where it's a bit of a loose accusation to base at somebody, but you're right. He played well. Obviously, it was a heavy defeat at the new camp, but you'll not be the first, you'll not be the last to suffer that. To have such a good game there, to have such a good game in the World Cup, you kind of think like, is that his way of just putting himself in the window a little bit? But I mean, interestingly, some of the rumours I was reading. We'll stay on the subject of Newcastle United. Actually, for now, we'll get on to Sunderland. Don't worry. The key to Elanga possibly leaving and return to Nottingham Forest might hinge on another Geordie's move, mate. That's Elliot Anderson potentially going to Man City. Apparently, there's a fee agreed. I don't think it's been finalised. Last time I seen, but huge money changing hands for Anderson. And yeah, is there a sell on for Newcastle involved in that, mate? Is it possibly going to fund some potential spends for you?
No, because Newcastle panicked when they had to sell Elliot Anderson to Nottingham Forest and didn't add a sell-on clause in the deal. So Newcastle get nothing. Newcastle get absolutely nothing from that. So it's that's another sour taste in Newcastle fans' mouths. Another bitter pill to swallow. I thought it was. Again, some people say that it was forgotten because Newcastle were in a haste to get the deal done because they had they had to sell. They didn't want to get a 6-point deduction. I still think it must have something to do with what goes on behind the scenes. And I've got no proof of this. I can't believe anyone would have the ineptitude at Newcastle United not to add a sell-on clause, especially when it's been, it's part and parcel of football deals these days. I can only imagine, maybe I'm giving the club too much credit here, but I can only imagine that it has something to do with the PSR rules, because they may not be able to include a sell-on clause, or I don't know. I don't know whether I'm just talking out of my backside on this, but I just genuinely feel that no way in the world could Newcastle have been stupid enough not to do that without a reason. So it was a strange deal. If you remember, we had to bring in Vlachodimos, the goalkeeper, and he came in as part of that deal. So is that the reason? I don't know. I'd like to know the reason behind it, just for peace of mind. And if it was Mitchell's fault, then he deserved to lose his job simply off the back of that deal. But it's just ridiculous, I mean, you're literally missing out on, millions of pounds, which could have, as you quite rightly said, gone into the club to finance stuff. But there's an anger at the minute amongst some of our fan base because we aren't being seen to go out and do anything about replacing Anthony Gordon, etc. There's hell on the X timeline. There's renowned journalists having a pop at Fabrizio Romano and having a pop at Ben Jacobs because, you know, they're in the words of some of the journalists, you know, stirring the pot, you know, creating stories, putting stuff out there, and you know they're, you know. I think Luke Edwards has said, I mentioned it on our show last night, Luke Edwards is saying that, you know, these stories are causing the problems, are causing a lot of the problems. And because Newcastle created and earned people a lot of money with the Isaac story last season, they're looking for the next Isaac story because our fan base bites. They've got a thirst for news, a thirst for knowledge, so they're clicking and clicking and clicking, and, you know, and it causing a whirlwind on social media. We're the worst for it. Newcastle fans are the worst for it. And that's why Newcastle are finding themselves the victim of, you know, these social media campaigns again this year. Tonali to Spurs, you know, Tonali to Arsenal, Tonali to Man City, Bruno to Arsenal, Bruno to Spurs, Bruno to Man City. You know, we're getting linked with, all of our players are being linked with big moves, you know, and it's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed to happen, you know. It's just someone stirring it, you know, and somebody making up stories and you know, people going with it. So it's so frustrating. It really is. And my advice constantly to Newcastle fans on my podcast day in, day out is try and ignore it. If it's getting to you, switch your bloody computer off, delete Twitter, delete Facebook for you know, just knock it off, stop looking at it, you know. But people don't. People are obsessed. People want information. You know, and that's why we try to be. It's why we've always been, and UFC Matters has always been more of a level-headed, you know, conversation, you know, with people on the show, and we don't get sucked into this kind of rumor mill unless it's something which is being confirmed by a football club or confirmed by the agent, or, you know, something that's public out there that really says this could happen. Spurs have made a bid for Tonali, so yeah, I don't mind talking about that on the show because it is newsworthy. There is an official bid gone from Spurs.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to talk about the crap and give it any endorsement when, you know, essentially it's nonsense, you know, and unfortunately a lot of people on social media, a lot of other podcasts, you know, across the board do spout nonsense, you know.
And we're happily one of them. I was interested. Interesting is one word for it, but I found it actually quite a joke that Spurs would even try and get Tonali. I mean, given the last two seasons that they've had and where they've ended up, sure, you know, they brought a new manager in, they're looking to change things around. They've already spent big money as well, but I mean, surely Tonali's agent, as well as Newcastle United, are looking at that going, are you having a laugh? What? You know, Spurs just seems to be an illogical choice for anyone to go to right now,
well,
Steve.
I think Paddy Power came out with the best one this week. Hello, is that Newcastle? Yep, Spurs again. Just double checking. You definitely don't want to accept our bid. Yes, exactly the same amount as before. Are you sure? Hello? And that sums it up. Why on earth you would think that when Newcastle have said no to £55 million, you would ring back up and ask if you sure you don't want £55 million for him. I mean, come on, give it a break. And look at it, and it's quite clear. It's quite clear that he wants, you know, him and his agent are clearly wanting to move. So you don't keep an unhappy player. You know, we don't want to keep a hold of him. It's pointless keeping a hold of him. But the big problem is that keeping a hold of a player that's unhappy is not going to serve you well. And Newcastle seem incapable of bringing replacements in. You know, what market we're shopping in, I don't know. You know, I just hope there's a grand plan to this. But then I hope there was a grand plan to the Isaac transfer. And there wasn't. Yeah. You know, we got embarrassed time and time again. The Munoz deal couldn't have gone any worse because Newcastle were genuinely interested. But Liverpool were interested at the same time, which the press didn't report on. And then, you know, it goes all over social media. And then Liverpool swoop in and the player agrees to go there. And, you know, the problem is that could happen again. And, you know, in this current climate on social media and amongst our fan base, it won't serve us well. And that's the big problem. If, let's say, Tonali goes, next week, and he goes for whatever price to whatever club, and then you're two players down. You know what I mean? You're Tonali and Gordon down, and all you've brought in is a 20-year-old goalkeeper, and that's a concern. It's a big concern because yes, Trippier's gone, Emil Kraft's gone, and you've still only got one player in. You've lost four players that were part of your squad last year. And that is a big worry and a big concern. And you still got the main problem, which is not having a goal scorer. Yeah, Sula, he's raw talent. He had a great end of the season. But is he the answer? Is he a 20-goal striker by next season? Is he going to keep up? That's the big problem we've got. And it's, I can see why people are getting hot under the collar, aerated, and it's got nothing to do with the weather. It's the football. It's people are really, really angry, and we just need to get it. We just need to get a grip. We need it. We need a couple of wins, i.e., transfer wise. And if we get a couple of wins transfer wise, then I think things will look a lot brighter. But at the moment, it's doom and gloom, mate.
Just before we get the cut out, because Jules is here, just a quick one. Do you think, in terms of like transfer policy, I noticed obviously the French under-21 keeper coming in. Can you see a more of a move towards unproven talent and getting a chance to work with them and coach them? You mentioned in other shows as well, Eddie Howe hasn't got the headache of Europe this season, so he can actually get down to coaching the team and getting his staff spending time developing the players a lot more. Could you see a kind of, I am going to say it. Can you see a bit more of a transfer model like what Sunderland have got, where you're actually going to bring talent through? If you're going to be known as a selling club, you may as well get top dollar and actually make more profit by bringing unproven talent through, right?
It feels like we can't sign anybody at all. That's what it feels like. It genuinely feels like we're struggling to sign anybody. It seems like there's complete ineptitude in that back room area, for bringing players in. Look, I've got no doubt by the time we get to kick off at the end of August, Newcastle United will have players in. But look, there's no doubt Sunderland had a great window last year, but we've said Newcastle seem to be going for younger players, or they're going to go for younger players. They're going to go for players that that Eddie can develop. Eddie must be feeling really down at this moment in time. Simon Jordan's come out this week and said he feels that Newcastle United and PAF will part. He feels that Saudis will pull out. I'm not sure where or why he would come up with that kind of philosophy when, they've ploughed money into the club. They have put money into the right areas, and they've just written the check for vast changes to the stadium and vast changes to the training ground. But because it's not
the outside of St James's as well.
But because it's not a new ground, because it's not a new training ground, fans are going, oh well, they're pulling out and out. And Simon Jordan coming out and saying that he thinks that's what's going to happen. The whole thing is like, the whole thing again is just, it just creates this whirlwind of crap which people retweet and pass on, and that again, that's a nightmare. But I think Newcastle's transfer policy will be to sign younger players, unknown players, and scour Europe. But it's going to be tough. It's a tough period for us at this moment in time. But I don't think the project's over. I don't think the Saudis have lost interest, and I do genuinely feel that we will bring in enough players, for this season. But I think Steve Hasty described it last night as a reset, and I think that's what it is, and that won't please a lot of people short term. And these Saudi owners, they've probably never ever experienced anything like this. Like fan bases, like a fan base like us turning. And that's one thing. And I think people should just keep their powder dry. If you haven't got anything positive to say, then don't jump on your timeline and say it. By all means, go and have a moan down the pub. By all means, have a moan with your mates. But don't go onto social media and start copying Jamie Rubin in and PIF and all of this. It's just it's just embarrassing, man. Absolutely embarrassing.
Well, I feel like we need to cheer up. I think we should get the cat out and we'll talk about Sunderland after that.
Well, first of all, congratulations in order. Skydiver has proposed to his girlfriend at 16,000 feet, and she said yes. Congratulations. And the World Cup is still on. Look who was attending: Germany versus Caraco.
The short trip from Argentina.
And Harry Maguire might not have been at the World Cup with England, but he did find something else to do. He was selling panini stickers outside the ground. And I love this. FIFA told Gillette to remove their sponsor's logo from outside a stadium, one of the stadiums that was played. Played one of the early group games a couple of weeks ago. And Gillette did, in fact, do it because they're not one of the official sponsors. Brilliant.
Tremendous.
That's marketing genius. VAR, great to see this guy. I think we're all feeling this guy's name when we watch VAR. The third official, Fu Ming. Iran certainly were this morning. And we've also, this World Cup's also brought us hydration breaks. It's not a new thing. 1970, George Best doing the very first hydration break.
Sponsored by Baby Sham.
Now, when England play in the World Cup, I think we always like to look for the flags, see who's there. Can you see a Newcastle flag? Can you see a Sunderland flag? But be careful who you team up with when you're there at these games. Carlisle and Northampton got together.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And England's performances, well, the first game, yeah, we played well, but the second game, yeah, it was more like the England I was expecting in this World Cup, to be honest. What we'll see tonight, who knows? There's England's attack, and there's England's defence. Yes, we'll be knocked out by the first decent team we'll play. And I missed out on this one last week, unfortunately, but Scotland fans have been currently going through more tenants than Fred and Rose West. And now they're drowning their sorrows. Almost. It's technically they could still get through, but I'm sure this is the sight outside many of the hotels and hostels that the Scotland fans have been staying in. And my wife was moaning at me for watching Qatar versus Switzerland, Ted. She said, I bet you can't even name 3 Qatar players. I said, Eric Clapton, Hank Marvin and Jimi Hendrix. And Anthony Gordon might be the most insufferable left winger since Greta Thunberg, says Matt Wilson. Newcastle as well have just emailed Barcelona to politely remind them that there are no refunds for Anthony Gordon, even with a receipt. Even though the World Cup is on, there is other sport taking place. This photo proves it. Row selector. And the fixtures are out. And one of the key fixtures to keep an eye on in the Championship.
Beautifully done.
Spygate, of course. Spygate. Yes. And we have been talking about the transfer window and Newcastle's lack of incomings. This is why. And there was a by-election in Makerfield as well since the last show. By far the shittest production of The Wizard of Oz ever attempted. And Andy Burnham thinks he's got it all his own way. I wouldn't be so sure.
Oh, the man we need.
Big Sam. And there's nothing cooler than casually walking away after blowing something up, Ted.
I'll tell you a story about that off air.
All right. And if they trim the bush, it would look bigger.
Jesus Christ.
And I know you like these lookalikes, so these are sponsored by Chippers. Thank you, Chippers. There's Mike Dyson. The way you make me feel.
Jesus.
The way you make me feel.
Nightmare fuel.
And whenever there's extreme weather, wet or sunny, Schmeichel Fish, the man to the rescue.
Christ.
And we've got a little advert here. This is how these kind of channels, of course, run on sponsorship and ads. Andy Kenton, hello. I'm name is Andy, and I'm a professional babysitting service from Uxbridge.
Right. Yeah, I'm just going to call the police.
And today I met Bruce Lee's vegetarian brother, Broccoli, and his brother who can't take a joke seriously, and the one throwing shades all the time, sarcastically, and the one who was always last minute, suddenly, and the one always so sure of himself, definitely. Let's not forget about the one whom everyone can predict, usually. Very good. And finally, we like a bit of branding and remarketing. I wouldn't advise anyone to go out and do this, but I did chuckle at this one. Sure, that's Newcastle, you know. Anyway, if you've got any trolling tweets or pictures or whatever, send them to Ted at Ted the Macam or me at Steve Wraith on X on our other socials, and we will get the cat out next week.
Now, Rye actually left some notes with us. Obviously, you mentioned the Middlesbrough fixtures, and it is going to be interesting to see what happens with that Middlesbrough-Southampton fixture. And I don't think the fans are going to let them forget it very, very easily. Kim Hellberg, though, said that he wants to put the Southampton Spygate thing behind him. Steve, that's never going to happen. That's good. You know what football fans are like. That's going to spout chants for years, isn't it? Surely that's not going to go away.
Oh, I mean, that has tied Southampton and Middlesbrough together indefinitely. You know, it's you know, there's loads of things happen like that. You know, I mean, they do die out eventually. You know, Liverpool and Southampton with a beach ball. Newcastle and Aston Villa with Sobbon. Yes, Liverpool and Sunderland. Sorry, I meant to say. Newcastle and Aston Villa with Sob on the Tyne. You know, there's been so many, you know, daft little things that have happened in time, and yeah, that'll go on for the next few seasons. You know, there'll be references to it. There'll be, you know, the media will be all over it, and you know, it'll probably die down when Southampton's manager goes. That'll be when that's when it leaves. But the press will milk it this time round. And we'll want to know, you know, what the managers are thinking, and you know, there'll be sarcastic questions like, you know, you haven't been up there with the telephone this time, and you know, there'll be that kind of tongue-in-cheek gag, you know, you haven't sent anybody up to go and spy. But yeah, funny. Yeah, football fans will always make a laugh of it, you know.
Well, I can't see Tonder Eckert being recruited by German special forces like not the way after he folded in question. And so I think he's going to be stuck there for a little while. But I honestly think that's, you know, we talk about our relationship or strange relationship that we have with Coventry City. And I honestly think that's going to tie them to forever. That now Southampton and Middlesbrough's Coventry City. That's them, just a universal hatred for them for very little reason other than they were cheating kids, which what Coventry City were as well. Just quickly on Borough as well, because I know we've got some of the Borough fans in there, Hellspells and some of Rye's crew. Celtic pre-season game announced, and obviously you start the season at home to Lincoln City as well. So not a bad way to start life with a newly promoted club who are, for me, you're probably going to struggle in the Championship, to be honest with you. I think when clubs come into that division, to find out that it's very, very physical. It took Wrexham an awful long time to get used to the pace of it, and they'd spent millions. So Borough starting at home against Lincoln City. I suppose you can check out the rest of the fixtures online. And I believe the Southampton game is not late on in the year, which brings us on to our fixtures, Steve. We've got a bit of a wait again, haven't we, mate? They're making us wait for it. 5th of December for the St James's Park one, and I think it's the 11th of May. Obviously, subject to change anyway. They'll more than likely get played on the Sunday. But yeah, a bit of a wait, mate. But it's I would rather do that than play each other first game of the season, wouldn't you?
I would have preferred to. I really wanted Sunderland first game of the season at St James's Park. Really, just to exercise the ghost from last season. You know, sometimes it's great. I'd love to know historically whether we've ever played each other in the first game of the season. I'm not sure we have, but it's look. perfect way to ruin somebody's Christmas, isn't it? 5th of December, for God's sake.
It's right before my birthday as well.
and then of course the end of the season. It's a horrible time for them to play each other, because they could play a pivotal role in determining what happens at the end of the season for each team. So you just don't know what's going to happen. Anything can happen in football. Sunderland could be found out and struggle next season, and Newcastle might not sign anybody and could be down there. Could be a relegation 6-pointer. You just don't know how the season's going to pan out. But playing Sunderland in May, it's not ideal. And that's I would have much preferred. I would have much preferred to be playing at our place, first game of the season, get it out of the way. I really do wonder about the fixture lists and how it's picked now, because all the talk of Kevin Keegan coming back to Newcastle because of his cancer diagnosis, and it would be great to get him back for the first game, etc., etc., etc. And we've got Liverpool at home on the first game. Is that deliberate?
Yeah.
Is Keegan going to come back? That's his two favourite clubs, Liverpool and Newcastle.
Yeah. It'll be some event that.
I just feel that just sets your alarm bells ringing when something like that happens, because it's supposed to be like a computer that picks them out. But who knows? Look, that's what we've got. We've got Liverpool at home, Spurs away. Sandwiched in between that, we've got the second round of the Carabao Cup, which we haven't been in for a few years. So that's August complete. And then we've got a couple of what I would say genuinely should be games we should win, against promoted teams, against lower teams lower in the division. Bournemouth, of course, had a great season last season, but that's a winnable game at home. So you're looking at going, okay, so it could be a difficult start, but we've got a nice September. So it's too early to start thinking about where we're going to finish, what's going to happen, because we just don't know what we're going to have in the dressing room yet.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I mean, looking at some of our fixtures as well, we've got a real baptism of fire. So our first Europa League game will take place between the fixtures of Arsenal and Man City. Welcome to the big leagues a little bit. Hopefully we're going to have some sort of additions to the squad to help with that. But that's what you want, though, isn't it, Steve? That's why you want to do well and qualify in these competitions is to be there and amongst all that. But my God, it's not going to be the easiest of starts, is it? The draw, Sunderland fans, I'm sure you're already aware of this, but the draw for the Europa League for the actual group stages will be August the 28th. So obviously, we'll bring you all the sort of reaction that we've got to that as well. I'm still hoping and praying that we're going to get a Cypriot team, so we're going to have Sunderland visiting Cyprus. That would absolutely mean the world to me. But fingers crossed we'll get that, mate. Fingers crossed we get that.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk England a little bit, mate. The playing tonight. I'm going to have a nap this afternoon so that I can actually stay up and go out and watch the football at midnight tonight for me. Just looking at some of the team news, mate, and everybody knew this was going to happen. You could see it coming a mile off. Is Reece James now looks potentially out with a hamstring injury? Surprise, surprise. No Tino Livramento, obviously, either. Was severely short of fullbacks, and I'm going to reiterate what I've said all along, that Lewis Hall should have been in that squad, mate. Have you got any sympathy for Thomas Tuchel at all in this?
I mean, I didn't get his logic. I didn't get his logic at all. Why he took Tino over Lewis Hall? I can only imagine it's because Tino's played left back and right back, and he saw the versatility with probably one eye on the Reece James position. But some really strange selections, and this is what happens in tournament football. It can come back and bite you on the backside. The irony of Dan Burn potentially playing full-back because that's where he's played with Newcastle. It won't be lost on Newcastle fans if that's where he ends up having a great World Cup. But Dan Burn will be willing to play there, and he'll be up for it. And against Panama, I don't think it's a risk. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Dan Burn maybe feature tonight. But I look at the DJ Spence. I'm just not impressed at all. And again, why was he taken? Some strange selections. Yeah. John Stones, again, bizarre. I don't know. I don't get it. I was never was never a Tuchel fan. I didn't rate him in the Premier League. I certainly don't rate him as an England manager, and I just think, I just think he'll be gone, within that 2-year period. I can't see him hanging about.
Yeah.
Whether Eddie Howe replaces him, I don't know. I still think Howe would like the England job at the right time, and I think if he has a bad start of the season, I can genuinely see him going. Yeah, I deliberately call him DJ Spence because that's what he looks like. He's more of a DJ than a bloody footballer. He's useless. But yeah, for me, it's just he's just one of these players. Where's he come from? What on earth What on earth is he doing at a World Cup? I just don't understand it. But anyway, that's my own personal feelings. But I'm just not a fan. I'm not a fan of Tuchel, and everyone getting carried away because we beat Croatia with 41-year-old Modric in the midfield. It's not coming home at all. So forget about it.
I did sarcastically put a little tune out there for you in the WhatsApp group, but yeah, I'm not too hopeful either. I mean, DJ Ed Spence actually said in an interview that Thomas Tuchel has got us playing like a Premier League club, and the comments underneath were absolutely scathing, going, "Aye, Burnley."
Oh, look, Jules has requested a song. Where did he come from? Where did he go? Where did he come from?
That's more like a sitar than a banjo. I thought I was sat down having a ruby in the cinema.
I didn't want to get done for copyright.
Jesus Christ, man, Steve. I mean, very quickly, just on the World Cup, there's a few players impressed me. I think, for one, Wilson Isidore's had a really good World Cup. Like, obviously, I'm going to show a little bit of bias there, but there's a few out there, Steve, that have caught the eye a little bit. Is there anybody who's really impressed you? Sorry, the one for me, and his name is Balogun, the USA forward.
Songs are just coming into my head now with your words. You're just dropping song bombs in. That don't impress me much. And you're the one for me, fatty. Oh. There we go. So Jules must be having a field day with this today. Has anybody impressed? Anyone impressed us in the World Cup? Obviously, Messi's being the best player. Rather than up-and-coming ones coming through, I've been fascinated with this whole Messi, Ronaldo, Mbappe kind of story. And, I thought Messi's hat-trick the other week was sublime. What a performance. But then Ronaldo, who had a stinking first game, he was just unplayable. That second game, he was unplayable, and the arrogance of Ronaldo is there. But I wouldn't have begrudged him scoring in 6 consecutive World Cups. I was pleased for him, but he's still not my favourite player. Messi is still my favourite amongst that kind of 3 elite. But Mbappe is going to beat his record, and I think Messi will try and play the next World Cup. But Mbappe, I think Mbappe will beat his record. He become the all-time greatest scorer in World Cups, which is absolutely mental. But he didn't get. It was like goal scorer turned provider last night, wasn't it? It was him playing Dembele, who got a lovely hat trick last night. So, but yeah, I've enjoyed that more than anything else, and I've enjoyed watching Cape Verde's goalkeeper, who is 40 years of age. 40 years of age, hasn't got a club, and probably will be linked with Newcastle by now, and will probably end up at Liverpool.
I'm glad you mentioned Dembele though, because it's not escaped Sunderland fans' attention that he is best mates with our owner Kirill Louis-Dreyfus. What do you reckon? What's our chances, Steve, of the Ballon d'Or winner coming to Sunderland for about 150 million next season? Is it a pipe dream, or is there a little bit hope? Do you reckon Kirill's having a word with him on the quiet?
Well, I think it was a guarantee that he was coming until he seen that bloody strip.
He's never had a pink slice. He's never lived. Keep your Paris patisseries, mate.
He took one look at that. And he thought, Christ, I'm not playing alongside Mr. Brobbey, am I?
It's Brian Brobbey. Yeah. That was an awful joke. Absolutely awful joke.
A dad joke.
It was. We're specialised in them. Just very quickly before we draw a close on it, mate. England tonight. If we can't find a way past Panama, then there's something seriously wrong. How does Tuchel go and change things up a little bit? Because for me, it just looked a little bit insipid from the midfield. I know the defence is weak, but going forward, I think we just have to be better. Harry Kane is Harry Kane. I don't think you can replace him. Do you start and go to a 4-4-2? Who do you swap? What do you do with that midfield, and how do you get England firing up again, mate?
I think England will win comfortably tonight. I don't think he'll change it massively. Obviously, Reece James is out. I do fancy Dan Burn getting a run out tonight. Dan Burn's certainly somebody who Tuchel has faith in. The keeper stays the same. Harry Kane will stay up front. He's not going to drop his talisman striker. I think England will cruise past Panama tonight. Panama as well, have been arguing and fighting on the training pitch. So there's a bit of animosity. There's something going on behind closed doors, and
must be a canal between them by now.
Yeah. They just need to chill out and have a cigar. But I think they haven't got that kind of feel good factor in the change room. England, despite the results, certainly seem to. They seem the morale's there. They're all up for it. But yeah, I mean, look, does Saka get a start tonight? Does Saka play? And does Gordon get dropped? He deserves to be. What do you do there? But I think that's where the changes will be. I think Rashford starts. I think Gordon is dropped. Maybe they keep very maybe they do bring Dan Burn in. But it'll be interesting. I think they'll win. I think they'll win comfortably. I'm not sure who they get in the group stage. Is it Ecuador in the knockout stage? Sorry.
Yes. Yeah. Which is coming up against an informed Sunderland player in Nilson Angulo as well. I think Benny's right. I think Rashford has to start as well, Steve. For me, Rashford on the left. I quite like Madueke on the right, but I can see why they'd maybe want to use Saka as something a little bit different. I honestly think Madueke's done all right so far, though.
I don't think he's had a bad tournament. No, I agree.
Not at all. Not at all. Where I think we are lacking is I don't think we hurt teams enough from set pieces. And I think what you're saying, this is a great opportunity to give Dan Burn a bit of time on the pitch for England. And mate, he is a danger. He won us a cup by being a threat from set pieces. So I honestly think it's not the worst thing in the world to have Dan Burn on there. And to be honest, after the defensive displays we've seen so far, all right, he's not a left back by any stretch of the imagination, not at the top level. But I think he should be given a whirl at centre back as well. Maybe move it to 3 at the back. But yeah, I think I'd be quite happy to see Dan Burn make an impression tonight. And yeah, hopefully it's a comfortable win and we get through it, mate. But we never know.
No, we don't. Prediction then from you?
Oh, I don't think it's going to be as cut and dry. I'm going to go 3-1 England.
3-1 England, yeah. Well, I'm going to go 3-0. So, yeah, both predicting a win anyway. So enjoy the game. And I just, if it goes to penalty shootouts at some point in this tournament, hopefully England can take some lessons from me, Ted, with my Mickey Quinn style penalty in the charity match.
I've got to say, hey, that's a smashing penalty, that, mate. I'm well impressed with that. I like that spin round, no look.
Aye, Mickey Quinn style, and a Shearer celebration. 2 of the greatest strikers that ever wore the number 9. So for me, yeah, and of course, despite the fact we were 18-7 down at that point, the new rule, the rule that came in at the end was next goal's the winner. So thankfully, I got the match winner in a charity match that I organised and raised £1,000 from. So I'm delighted with that, mate. Delighted.
Well, I think we'll let you off, being as you raised that money, mate. It's a fantastic cause as well, mate. Brilliant stuff.
Thanks, mate. And
Well,
we are doing this. Of course, Sunderland fans and Middlesbrough fans probably won't entertain and interest you, but a blatant plug for our fanzine that we do every year. Basically, we do an UFC Matters fanzine, 4 issues for £25. That includes your postage, and we have a great array of covers from last season. Never mind the Swede. Here's Walter Marder and Wisser. Turned out well. In the City, of course. Back in black and white, another cover there, and the dark side of the tune, which is where we're.
I love that.
But yes, 4 issues for £25. NUFCmatters.co.uk is our website. If you want to go there and help it, all proceeds go to Age UK North Tyneside to help dementia patients in the Northeast. I think we only do 100. I think we've got 42 left, 42 subscriptions left. So if you want to help support dementia in the Northeast, please jump on our website and do that.
Get on it. Yeah, really good cause, mate. Well done. Love to see that. What a nice way to end the show. Bit of charity, a bit of niceness. You know, it's just nicer without Ryan. He's always argumentative and upsetting people. And no, we do miss him. Hopefully we'll have Ryan back for us next week. But for now, that's it, mate. That's it.
Yes.
It's the end of another show.
Get some cream on your napper if you're in the UK. Double amount of cream in Cyprus. And we will see you next week. Thanks. Get well soon, Ryan. Take care, everybody.
See you later, everyone.
The Crowd podcast will return. That's not a threat. It's a promise.